Okay, so in your view, what is the value a startup accelerator can add and why?
Yeah,
Because uh,
yeah,
it's something that sort of has emerged recently, where like people
yeah.
seriously consider being part of an accelerator. But let's say 30 years back, it was not like such a
Yeah.
prevalent thing. So yeah, your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think, look, capital is a commodity these days, right? I think so much capital is flooding the market that, I think smart entrepreneurs should look at whether it's an accelerator or even a VC. They should ask themselves what value besides capital can that VC provide, right?
Right,
Or the startup accelerator. So, I'll talk about Bloom just for a minute here. When we started, obviously I wasn't around, but when the founder started Bloom, the idea was always to build a platform, right, where we add massive value to portfolio founders above and beyond just capital, right? So we started with sort of helping our founders with things like accounting, tax, legal, compliance, right? All these things that founders don't necessarily want to deal with to focus on the business, right? And today that has spun out as its own sister concern, right? We've got a team that helps portfolio founders with hiring, right? And now that has become its own sister concern. We've got an internal team that helps with founders with portfolio fundraising, right? So raising capital for next rounds. We've got a team that helps with operational aspects, community and engagement, and business development. So and partnerships. So we've always tried to, if you get invested by Bloom, you have access to this entire platform that works on behalf of you to really maximize your chances of success. And I think that's the kind of value that some startup accelerators provide as well, right? The access to networks, to tap into different people, right? To meet new investors. So I think it's an interesting model for sure. I think you'll see more accelerators come on board and new platforms being built. But I do think that good founders should think about, where they take the capital from very, very carefully.
yeah, yeah, because I think there's this saying that not every money is good money, in
Yeah,
the sense that okay, if money comes with this additional set of responsibilities,
yeah,
then it might actually hurt you, where now you have to hit certain thresholds but you do not have the capacity to, and because you have taken the money without considering that okay, do I have the ability to keep up with
yeah,
them, now you are stuck in this operational aspects, whereas the company
yeah,
is not growing. So you're complying but not growing, which is not a good
yeah.
situation to be in. And so I see a lot of founders, especially the ones like who are just right out of college, haven't had sort of
Mm,
experience of
mm,
bootstrapping or
mm,
understanding how to make the most of your resources. They end up falling in
yeah,
this trap where they give up too much of a share very early on because they're getting money
mhm,
that otherwise they wouldn't get.
mm,
But that means that okay, now they have to perform on a certain level and they just don't know. Like sometimes people get overwhelmed with
yeah,
just the kind of money that is being invested because they've not thought on a level uh, that okay, if I suddenly receive this much money, which is perhaps 10
yeah,
times more than I was expecting, how do I
yeah,
allocate those resources? So
absolutely.
yeah, I mean, I'm sure you must have seen Silicon Valley, right? The HBO series.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
you see some people end up in that position where some
yeah,
millionaire writes a check for you in the hopes that you guys will earn him a certain return. Lo and behold, you are now struggling to keep up. So yeah, I think it's really important because money is one aspect of it, but then what other avenues or what other kind of support you can get, right? So it's a
absolutely.
whole
Yeah.
spectrum of things. It's not just the money that makes sure your business runs efficiently. It's also like the
Yeah, and you
people.
want to make sure it's the people, it's also you want to make sure that you have a good relationship with, because it's all like, it's true, it's like a marriage, right? You are literally marrying an investor, especially if they're investing in you at an early stage. It's a relationship that hopefully lasts for 10, 15 years, if not more. And so you want to make sure you have partners who believe in you, who you can, who you feel proud of being associated with, and there's mutual respect involved, right? And who will always be your biggest cheerleader, but will also give you constructive feedback when it's required in a healthy manner. So there's a lot needs to be looked at. And unfortunately or fortunately, in today's environment where deals are happening so fast, sometimes both sides don't have that courtship process to be able to figure out these kind of dynamics. So it's getting a little more challenging than I think it used to be back in the day.
Yeah, yeah. And I also kind of, see that when the for the most time, I mean, like, economy is one aspect of how much investment flows, like, what's the
Mm-hmm.
deal,
Mm-hmm.
flow overall. But I sometimes feel that Silicon Valley falls into this trap of, like, okay, if we just keep throwing money at things, eventually something will stick, right? And so you see case studies like, Theranos and
Right.
Quibi, where it's just like they have a lot of financial muscle behind it, but it's
Yeah.
essentially a solution to a problem that doesn't exist.
Yeah.
So, I mean, Theranos was good. It's just that, well, the idea was good. It's just that, it was uh, wrong on
Yeah.
so many
And
levels.
capital can't solve every problem. Yeah, very wrong on many levels. But capital can't solve every problem, right? You need to. At least at Bloom, we try and build very capital efficient companies, and we make sure the founders are spending on things in a manner which sets them up for success, and not wasting resources if it's not required. So a lot of this comes down to the investors and how they guide the founders as well.